Welcome back to the Only Points podcast, you guys, with your host, Eddie Garcia, with our host, Eddie Mercado, Alexis Martinez, and our special guest, you guys, Elvis Somoza. Now, Elvis Somoza is our really good friend of ours. We all know him personally for about 2 years. Me and him have a working relationship for about the same 2 years where he sends me clients for credit repair and I send them back for them to be able to build personal credit, business credit as well. So I would like to have the man introduce himself. So here we go. Elvis, take it away, man.
What's up, guys? Like Eddie just mentioned, my name is Elvis Somoza, and what I do is I help people start building their credit and scaling it so they can start building and scaling their business credit and then leverage that to start generating income by starting an online business or any type of business. We've been doing this for about 2 years. We met doing a mentorship also, right, with Sean Sharma.
That is correct. So, yeah, Did we meet before that, or did we meet during the 8-week mentorship?
No, it's funny because I actually was talking to you. I was having Zoom calls with you on a regular, and then you were like, I know this guy. He knows everything about. Oh, wait, was it you first, and then you introduced me to him because we were talking about travel hacking.
I don't remember, bro.
Yeah, I think
that's a
how
funny
it went
thing.
down.
It's hard for me to remember certain things I knew because it's all we were like. I didn't know you guys, and then I met all of you guys around the exact same time.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, and that's the beautiful thing that now we've been able to work together, you guys. It's where I send people his way or Eddie's way or whoever's way. And it's like what you guys are seeing, the guests that you guys seeing in these podcasts, you guys, is everybody that we're currently working with. Yeah. Like we wouldn't bring someone we don't trust, we don't have any relationship with until the near future, wherever we want to expand.
No furus on this show.
And I think the important thing is that the money stays in the inner circle and we work together either primarily or secondarily.
That is correct. So, Elvis, I actually want you to talk about where you were born, when did you move here to America? Because as we know, you were not born here in America, and a lot of people have this misconception that people outside of the American can't build credit. Like it's a lot harder for them. So I would like to give you a little backstory, where you're from, family, and how you got into what you're doing right now.
Wait, hold on. So you weren't born in the U.S. Do you have like the mark of the beast?
What is that? Oh, no, I don't have that.
Dude.
I actually went to, I don't even know where that started, if it was public hospitals or what, doing like messed up shots.
No, I think it's
just the mark of the beast.
Is it a polio shot? I can't remember what it is. It's a vaccine that everybody gets.
It was mandatory.
It is mandatory, especially in Mexico. Everybody has it in Mexico.
Yeah, luckily I didn't have to go through that. But I was born in Guatemala. I lived there half of my life.
So up to when you're 15?
Oh, yeah, 15. I'm 30 now, so.
30.
Okay, can I say something, and I'm not gonna offend you here?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I've heard you speak Spanish a few times in my life.
Yeah.
I always thought your Spanish was very broken.
My Spanish is broken?
Yeah.
Well, when I speak to people who are Mexican, it's a little bit broken because it's different Spanish.
Okay.
So I have to like rethink words so that they make sense to you.
Okay, gotcha, understood. Because you don't speak Spanish that much to us, no. And when I hear you speak Spanish, when you have to speak Spanish,
it takes you by surprise.
It takes me by surprise because you sound like you've never you're like you never spoke it personally. Like those people that were their grandparents only spoke it and they only heard it.
Like
and
I was born here and I'm second generation.
Yeah, correct.
No, I think it starts because when I first moved here, I didn't speak English, so I was thrown with pretty much all the Hispanics.
And you're 15 at this point, right?
Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school, and I didn't know how to make friends. I didn't know any of that, so I was like, okay, they speak Spanish, let me go and make friends. And whenever I would speak to them in Spanish, they would be like, wait, what did you say? And I'm like, I would repeat myself, and I'm like, okay, they don't understand what I'm saying. Let me just speak English.
Can you give us a few of those words that like are different?
How do you say truck in Guatemalan?
It's not troca for sure.
Chevy.
Es camioneta.
No, but I mean, you know how like in Mexico you gotta say usted. That's like the proper way of addressing someone. Yes. We say vos. It's kind of like
vos. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So it's like Spanish people, Salvadorans, Guatemalans. I think Hondurans also use the same.
Colombians.
Similar. Similar.
Colombians too.
Colombians.
Colombians, don't ask why I know, but yeah,
Okay.
they say vos a lot.
Yeah, so that actually like forced me to
Colombians.
speak English faster. I learned really quick because I was like, okay, I can't speak Spanish, so I might as well just talk to people in English.
Well,
'cause
you
they'll
just had to
understand me.
adapt.
Yeah, and that taught me, like now people tell me, oh, I don't even hear an accent or you speak English very well, although it wasn't my first language. But I think that's what kind of pushed me to just not talking to people in Spanish. And even now, like if I'm in conversations where people are talking in Spanish and I know they're Mexican, I try to just talk to them in English, unless it's like a pretty common like word that I gotta say, but it's
Right.
just easier.
So, or especially like if it's Mexican that doesn't speak any English, and then at that point you're like, fuck it, I gotta speak in Spanish.
Exactly.
We're gonna figure this out together.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of Guatemalans out here too. You'd be surprised. I feel like I meet just as many Mexicans as Guatemalans here.
Oh,
But
what do you mean by here in Vegas or LA?
in the U.S. in general.
Yeah.
US.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot in LA.
Everybody
Yeah.
looking for
Yeah.
opportunity.
Big
Yeah,
time.
honestly.
That's
But-
awesome. So I would. What is like something distinct that you remember from living in Guatemala that is completely different from living in here? Because this is a great insight for other people, especially and our listeners who probably haven't even gone to Guatemala. So what is like if I want to go to Guatemala, what should I be looking out for? What is something that should be like wanting to go see?
That you want to go see. There's a lot of it's like a mini Mexico. Honestly, you'll see a bunch of like green areas. People in general are more friendly, but at the same time, it can be extremely dangerous depending on where you're at. If you're not from the area, if you're flashing, like you can't walk around like flashing a chain over there
course
like you
not.
can over here. And values in general. I mean, I was 15, but I could tell that most people's values were completely different than the people here now. I don't know if that has always been this way, but that's one thing that I noticed a lot over there. People, date to get married. People,
More conservative, traditional values,
Exactly.
religious values. What kind of religion was it? I'm guessing Catholic,
Christian.
Christian.
Yeah.
Oh, no
Most
way.
people out there are Catholic, or most Hispanics are Catholic, but yeah, I was raised Christian.
Gotcha. Do you still practice that?
Not really. Like I have the same values as most religions, I guess, but I don't practice like going to church and doing all those things. I have like my own relationship with what I consider God.
Gotcha. Beautiful, man.
What's a common like a common like for the tourist attractions? What's like a common
Site to go visit?
no, just like what's a common scam?
Scam.
Oh, good question.
Yeah, a common scam, like because I've seen like in specific countries, it'll be like you and your boys or you and your people just walking, and there's always like the idiot in the back that's on the phone, and there's like 5 people will like
Trailing them.
that'll
So-
go around you.
I heard about one, but it's not even a tourist one. It's just like in general. Like where
Big city too, right?
Yeah, where you're like if you are driving a car and you're at a stoplight, and they'll put like a motorcycle will pull up to your car and look inside and see if you have anything of value, and if you do, they'll put a piece of gum on your door handle. And I don't know if they're still doing this, but when I was living there, that was like the thing. Then another motorcycle ahead would follow you if you had a piece of gum, and then they would park their motorcycles in front of you so that you would be forced to stop, and then they would pull out guns, and like it would get pretty dark out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't
No.
want to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I mean, there's beautiful places that are safe, but I know that was like a common thing that was going on at the time.
Yo, that's so funny that you say that, because for me, because I go to Mexico all the time, if anybody stopped me, like it's instant like paranoia, because I also travel. I was in the Philippines for 3 months.
Yeah.
Over there's hardly any crime, because the president, whether you guys agree to his tactics or not, he was very tough on crime. Like he would execute people. Like he was executing fucking criminals like on a daily basis. He just,
Well, if you execute and get rid of all the criminals, there won't be any left.
well, yeah. So I mean, there was police guards, and if you go to a mall, remember we had to scan bags,
Oh.
everything.
It's very
Police
controlled.
officers at entrances at hotels, entrances at malls, everywhere. Which
Which was annoying, but it's for our safety.
But it looked like it worked, But anyways, so one of the things that would happen was that we rented a car because we wanted to go to Baraka. I got the first 6 employees that I hired there that were with me for multiple months already by that time. And I decided to treat them and take them to Baraka over the weekend. And on our way back from Baraka to the office, it was in the middle of the night. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. We were making this turn. It was like, it looks like we were driving in the middle of the jungle, right? It was dirt road. And then all of a sudden we stop. And I look at why we stopped, and it was some guy in just like a regular shirt, regular clothes in the middle of the night, sandals, just waving us down, saying like to stop. And they put like cement barricades on our side to block it, right? And I wasn't the one driving, but if I was the one driving, I would have run that motherfucker over. But they stopped, right? And I was like, why are we stopping? I was making it such a big deal. Like, why the fuck did you guys stop? And then he's like, because he told us to stop. I was like, no. And then all of a sudden we see like a bunch of cars pass on their side. And then once they cleared, they allowed us to pass and just go around. It looks like they were doing some construction. And I was like, and they're like, why are you tripping out? Like, what's wrong? I was like, dude, I go to Mexico. Yeah. If they do that to me in the middle of night, in the middle of nowhere, I'm sorry, I'm running that motherfucker over, because I've seen too many videos of the cartel pulling up, like pretending that it was a stop and it was the real cartel, and they just take your truck, they take anything that they see valuable of you, and then boom, you're dead. Like, fuck no, I'm not. You know,
it's actually kind of crazy. Like my boy put it like this. He goes, "For my mom to cry, or your as opposed to your mom to cry, nah, your mom is gonna cry. My
a
mom
shit ton. Like, hell no.
My mom is not gonna cry."
Yeah, it's crazy. Like most countries, and especially now that we're traveling a little bit more, we're able to like see different mentalities, see different people, and different practices in general. But unfortunately, like Hispanic countries tend to be really extreme with their crime. But I was just in Spain last week too, and they were the common thing over there is that they pickpocket you.
Yeah.
They don't really do much, but they pickpocket you. So you're like, okay, like if they try to steal something, like you could probably fight them and then you're not gonna die.
It's a different kind of crime.
Yeah.
Yo,
it's like,
I was in Spain 15 years ago, and I went to a private Catholic high school, so my school actually took us because there was World Youth Day, which is an entire week for Catholics, whatever. Yeah. So it was in Spain, and they told us we went with priests and brothers of the church. So our teachers were priests and other religious teachers. So we went with them for a month to Spain, and they told us about pickpocketing. The priest got pickpocketed.
Really?
Wow.
The priest that told us to be careful about pickpocketing was the one that got pickpocketed at the subway. So yes.
What did they come up on? Like, what did they take?
Your wallets, your wallet, your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll just jack your shit. But man, I didn't know that they were still doing that after so many years.
It's like the most common thing to do because if you think about it, it's a very tourist area, and people that travel like that, they're not gonna have like backpacks. It's mainly like whatever you can fit in your pocket. Yep. And you know, if you're out there, you probably have your wallet, like a watch or things of value. That's where you're gonna keep it.
Correct. But man, so awesome, crazy story. So actually, let me ask you this: what was one of the besides? I'm guessing learning English was one of the hardest things that you had to do. Besides learning English, what was another hard thing that it was difficult for you, or something that you found that it was difficult for you here in America once you moved?
I don't think there was anything difficult. I don't even think learning English was too difficult. It was just me getting past the barrier of people are judging me if I mess up a word, because in Hispanic countries, it's also like people are very judgmental.
They are.
So if you mispronounce a word, they're already making fun of you. They're pointing like, oh, like you mispronounced that word.
That is
but
correct. Over
here, like, and that was the main thing that held me back for 6 months. After that, I was like, okay, no, if I can't go through high school and not make friends, not speak to anyone, so I need to just try.
So it was most like a mentality shift.
Mental, yeah.
It was a mental thing that you had to get over, you had to overcome. Yeah,
because school was way easier here. Making friends wasn't too hard after you started like talking to people.
Correct.
And I mean, I didn't have to get a job or anything when I was in high school, so I didn't really have like a bad struggle other than like what was in my own head.
Gotcha, man. Awesome. So now after doing that, you're in the credit scene now. That's where you mostly generate your income. Mm-hmm. So 2 questions: what other sources of incomes do you have, and can you give a little bit of perspective of how was it anything different? Do you feel like to build credit as an immigrant?
Actually, can you start first by saying like what age were you when you got your social and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So
that's the beginning.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
beginning of the
That's
journey.
True.
Oh yeah. So pretty much like I never went through the phase of not having a social because as soon as I landed here, we were pretty much we applied for asylum, which is where you're in danger in your country and your government can't help you. So luckily we were able to qualify for everything right away. So we never had that phase of like not having anything. We did struggle because in the beginning they gave us work permits and they never gave us a residency or anything like that. And it kind of sucked because they expire every year.
That's what I was gonna
Yep.
say. I was gonna ask you if the work permit has like an expiration date or.
Back when I first got it, it was every year, and that was the worst because they were like, you gotta apply to it 6 to 8 months before it expires. So
Yeah.
literally,
Just like 4
So
months.
you
down the
get
road.
it, and then a few months later you have to apply for it.
Exactly.
But then, weren't you 15? So it's illegal to work at 15 here.
yeah, no, but I didn't know this until I needed it. So when I was already 18 and I was like, okay, I need to get a job.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Like my mom kind of started to understand, but she had her own like small business. She never worked a job, so we didn't know exactly what documents we needed. None of that. So I would go to interviews and they'd be like, okay, where's your social? And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So then I started asking to like family members that already lived here, and they were like, oh yeah, well, you need to apply for this. So I started applying, and the first year I didn't know that you had to renew it so far in
So far
advance.
out.
Yeah.
So I was working at Bank of America, and they had to let me go because I didn't get my card in time for
Your
them
work
to
permit,
allow-
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the work permit. So
So at this point, you already had your Social Security, and obviously you don't need to renew your Social Security. You get it once, and that's it. However, you still have to continuously renew your work permit.
I did up until like right before COVID, I think. That's when I had to. They gave me
Every
the
year.
yeah.
That's annoying.
Yeah, and after like 3 or 4 years of me having to renew it, they changed it so that it would expire every 2 years. So it wasn't as bad. And then after like 10 years of me being here, they're like, okay, you get your residency. Here's this. You don't need to ever renew your work permit. And at that time, I wasn't even working a job anymore.
Yeah. So now you have your residency. Now you can freely coming in and out of the country. You are.
They basically said you paid enough taxes.
You paid enough
You
taxes.
earned your spot.
Yeah, pretty much.
There you go.
Now
Let's
it's like
go.
I can. I mean, even before I could leave the country, but I just couldn't go back to Guatemala. Now I can go anywhere.
Okay, so building credit wasn't the hardest thing for you as an immigrant because you were able to get that social security number. Not like other people who have to have an ITIN number and then have to figure out all the more complicated stuff.
Yeah, I never really struggled with that. To be honest, I didn't even know I had credit. I didn't know anything about credit. I just knew that I could apply to credit cards. So I did because a friend told me, hey, we're going to this concert. And I'm like, okay, I don't have money to go. So he was like, why don't you apply for a credit card and just pay with a credit card and pay it back? Worst piece of advice because fast forward like a year or two after, I was like 20K in debt, didn't pay off my debt, and I was just making minimum payments on all my cards. Never missed a payment, but it was just a lot of debt. And I did struggle in that sense, but never like building it.
And you were paying a lot of interest, I
yeah,
imagine.
it
what I
was
was gonna say.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So actually, okay, so now that you got your social, you got the first credit card. What got you into I want to do credit. I want to learn about credit. You know, how did that come about? Because when I met you, you were still working at Costco.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
can
big
you
facts.
can you tell us that transition?
Yeah, so it all kind of started with me going into debt, and I realized at one point that, I mean, I started seeing my friends, you know, getting in relationships, having kids, doing all these things, and I'm like, man, I don't think I can afford to have a kid right now. Like, what happens if I do have a kid? Like, I can't provide. I can barely provide for myself because everything's going to credit cards.
Did you wanted a kid at that point?
No. I was just saying, like, you
Just
know, being,
hypothetical.
Like, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I was like, okay, like, I need to figure out how to get my things in order so that when the time comes, I'm ready. And researching, I went on Google like everyone else and Googled how to get out of debt. And I found like a few programs. I ran into National Debt Relief.
So debt consolidation program.
Exactly. Which is, I mean, it
Side
depends
note,
on what
yeah.
your target is, but honestly, like in my case, it was the worst thing I could have done. Because what they do is they tell you like, okay, stop paying all your credit cards. Now we're gonna open you an escrow, which is a savings account. You're gonna put, if you were spending $700 a month on credit card payments, you're gonna make one here of $500. for the next 6 to 8 months, and then we're gonna negotiate your debt with the banks, and we're gonna pay it off. After that, you'll be debt free. And instead of paying 20K, you're gonna pay like 12. And I was like, okay, like that's way better than anything I knew at the time. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, sign me up.
So now that you know more,
Yeah.
would you have done that?
No.
Okay. Would you
No.
have recommended anybody to do that?
No.
Okay.
That's
Gotcha.
There's-
large growth.
Yeah,
That's-
there's so many different things you can do now.
Yeah.
Even if I could have just defaulted all the credit cards, honestly, and then get credit repair.
True. But I mean, I don't think that's the moral
It's-
way to go.
Yeah, it's
either.
not the ideal, but that would have been a better solution to what I did.
Correct.
But yeah, messed up my credit, like horrible. Like everyone knows that if you miss one payment, your credit can go down 100 points
Tanks
or more.
big time.
So imagine making late payments on all your, like not making any payments to any of your accounts
For
Literally-
multiple months in a row.
for over like close to a year.
Wow.
So yeah, my credit was like 450, and I was about to get to be done with the program, and I was like, okay, like now I don't have any debt, but I can't get credit, so I can't qualify for a house or a car or credit cards or nothing. So I was like, okay, like let me look into credit repair, and then that's when I started following, I think Ruben or Sean, and
They go hand in hand. It's either
yeah,
or.
Yeah. So they had a mentorship where they were teaching people how to do certain things with credit, and I was like, okay, I need to invest into this because it's either this or I'm just gonna go back into debt, or I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Started learning from them. That's where I met you guys, and they were like, yeah, you can fix your own credit. You can pay a credit repair company. You can then leverage it for this, and that. And I ran with it. I just after well, actually, you were the one that started working on my credit. Oh, actually, no. A year before that, I met a guy
Yes.
that was doing credit repair.
Correct.
And it sucks that there's so many people on the internet that scam people. So I got scammed maybe like 2 to 3 times before I ran into your page.
Who was it?
I don't want to put names out there, but
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah, remember, we don't say names. Remember?
No names.
Yeah, I tried.
yeah, but yeah, he charged me a lot at the time. It was $1,500, and I'm obviously was not making that much money, so I had to pay him 3 payments of $500. And my credit did go up. I'm not gonna lie, it went up a little bit, but compared to where it's at now, or what I expected, it was over like a year and a half, and it went up maybe like 50 points. So it wasn't like significant.
From the 400 and something.
Yeah, it was like 450 at the time.
And I think when you started with me, you would probably know this because obviously I don't remember everybody's profile. But when you started with me around, what was it?
I think it was like maybe 600s because I also
Yeah.
learned from the mentorship like things that you could do yourself.
Correct.
So I started applying that, but 600 is not going to qualify for anything, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I need to just pay you, and then like 6 months after, perfect credit, like
Yeah.
nothing negative, and then by then, I had already started my funding business, which it's funny how all that started because I had bad credit. I could fund
Yeah.
everyone, but I
But
could not
not
fund
yourself.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
Totally
sucked, and by the time it actually got fixed, I was like, okay, like I don't really need the credit yet, so I'm gonna save it for when I do need it. And I'm actually barely starting to use my credit to
Good.
get into investments. Yeah.
So now you are able to get those 0% interest credit cards, be able to invest it. But that's awesome. So like you guys said, everything here comes full circle, you guys. So yeah, so Alvis actually was a client of mine. We were able to get his credit score up fairly quickly, I would say.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, man, I'm super excited where you're at now. So, okay, cool. So with that going on, now you have your credit fixed. Now you're generating money with the funding. What other sources of income that were you able to leverage your credit into starting, and what other business do you got currently going on right now?
Okay, so my very first business was funding, and that was just through things that I was learning online on YouTube or just credit pages and stuff. And it's funny how it all started because I ran into a friend of mine who had an Amazon store, and I was like, okay, they're making good money. It was It was when it was like booming.
A year and a half ago, 2 years?
It was probably a little bit over that. It was like
Yeah.
2017, I think.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Oh, snap.
and I was like, okay, like I want to do that. And I don't know how I ended up on Mo's page, our friend Mo.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I remember we were on a Zoom call and you were like, "Yeah, man, I met this guy. His name is Mo."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a crazy
I-
story too because, okay, so I started with that and I was like, okay, it's gonna be X amount of money. I obviously did not have it because it's a lot of money.
Right.
But the return was there, so I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to make this money so I can start that. And I was like, okay, like if I start helping other people get this store, I'll charge them a fee and then start saving my money so I can afford it with cash.
That's correct. And I remember when we first started chatting, you were telling me that you already helped Mo acquire some clients, and so
Yeah.
that's why you were able to also get and start into that. And that's how the partnership relationship started with you and Mo.
Hmm. And it wasn't even supposed to be a partnership. I just started selling my service at the time, and it was cheap. I was charging people like $300, $400 to get them lines of credit so they can
Ridiculous,
invest.
bro.
Yeah, and at first I started with my younger sister, because she always had good credit. She always listened to my mom. She like had perfect credit.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, let me practice this. I've been doing it on my own for a little bit, so let's do it. And she was like, okay, let's practice. Best case scenario, you get an Amazon store. Worst case scenario,
Worst case scenario.
you end up with credit cards.
Okay. Shout out to your sister.
Yeah.
Major shout out to your sister, because there's people, like, I'm pretty sure we all have family members that no matter how much we want to help them out, they don't believe in you. So shout out to your sister to believe in you and be like, yeah, I just learned this shit from online, and I'm gonna fuck with your credit right now and get you a bunch of credit cards. That dude, shout out to your sister
Yeah,
for
no, shout out
believing
to
and
her.
trusting
Honestly,
you.
she didn't have to, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it ended up like helping her also. But yeah, it was crazy. Like I was able to get her, I think, 70 grand when she was like 21.
Wow.
And
Nice.
That's
Damn.
crazy.
yeah, and then I was like, okay, like in my
I
head,
can do this.
because
Yeah.
that was my thought. But then
Yeah.
at the same time, I was down on myself just because I'm like wired to doubt myself. And then I was like, okay, like I'm gonna hit up my best friend. I was like, hey, like let me do this. Same story with my sister. I got him 60K, and I was like, okay, like maybe I'm onto something. I tried it again with another friend. Eventually, all my friends had a bunch of credit, and they were like, okay, what do we do with it now? So I was like, okay, like this is what I was gonna do with mine. I'm gonna get this e-commerce store, and I'm gonna generate money, blah, blah, blah. I was selling Mo's service. So I was like, okay, like I'm gonna create group chats and make a connection between them. And then eventually I ended up selling like 5 or 6 Walmart stores at the time. And I didn't know that you could get paid for that. So Mo reached out to me and he was like, hey bro, like what are you doing? Like how are you sending me all these people? And we hopped on a call, I broke it down, and I was like, hey, I'm doing funding, like I help him get lines of credit. And then literally like a week after that, he was like, bro, let me fly you out here, let's meet. And I think I had work that day, and I was like, yo, I'm not gonna go to work. So I just,
Wow.
That's ballsy.
yeah, I just ended up here, and we just discussed how we can benefit from each other's partnership, and yeah, I just started doing funding for them, for their clients, and also I was doing my funding on my end, and
Yeah.
that's what got everything started. Fast forward 2 years, like now we're all like sitting in the same room, doing the same things and everything, but that's how it all started from like a bad decision, which was messing up my credit.
That's correct.
We're all doing the same thing at a higher scale.
Yep.
Much higher scale.
higher.
But that just means that the risk is higher, but our risk tolerance is much higher.
Yeah. And then you're smart about it too, right? You just don't hop onto investments just because you have credit. Like you have to like do
Bet the deal.
Yeah, exactly. Do some research and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Mm.
So now that you're doing that, so right now I know you were able to. Actually, I don't think you touched on what businesses have you been able to
yeah.
start because of the credit now.
Yeah, my bad. So I first got into e-commerce.
How many cars do you own? Yeah, well, talk about e-com, and then I want to know how many cars you actually own, because
Yeah, so I first got into e-commerce because I had to save so much cash. I didn't even have credit at the time. So I just saved up so much cash that I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a cash. And
Costco pays that well.
No, I was like, nah, not even like what I pulled from my retirement at the time. It was like compared to, it was bad. But pretty much I got my store, and that was my first source of income, right? Besides what I could control, which was funding. After that, we started a Turo business, a car rental business. And right now, like you asked me right now how many cars I have. I believe 4 cars.
That you own?
Yeah, that
Under
I
your name?
own. And I got them all within the last year, or maybe a little bit over a year. But
Right.
we were just trying to figure out how to turn liabilities into assets and how to make regular things that we own generate us money, right? Like we all use our cell phones to make money now. You can use it as a
Correct.
liability. You can spend all day on TikTok scrolling. Same concept, but with everything else we had.
So, maybe touchy subject. However, to inform the listeners, so you're doing Turo. Are you profitable? Yes or no? And what is like on average monthly? Because I know seasons fluctuate,
Yeah.
but on average, like let's say somebody does it, and because you're doing it here in Vegas, right? So here in Vegas, let's say I want to start it. I'm a podcast listener. What kind of returns should I be expecting?
So yes, I'm profitable, and at the end of the day, it's always going to depend on your market and if there's a need for the vehicle that you have, right? So in Vegas, it's a crazy market because it doesn't really have a season. I mean, it does, but it's not as crazy as people think. Like if you were to live in Utah, right, which is like snow most of the time, and it does get hot, so people are going to travel there when it tends to get a little bit hotter. So you're going to have 3 to 4 months where people are going to book your car. But here, there's a high demand at any point during the year. Wintertime might slow down a little bit, but for the most part, your cars are going to be out.
To be honest with you, I feel like wintertime would probably not be as busy, but still be busy because that's the only time when it's not like cool temperature here in Vegas. Like now it's April, it's starting to get hot again here in Vegas.
No, it's starting to get warm.
Okay, it's starting to get warm. Yeah, give it like 1 or 2 more months, and then it's gonna be scorching hot.
Scorching hot, yeah.
But the thing is that people want to come here because, okay, wintertime, people go out at night. Summer, people are
go out
partying at like
during
9
beach
in the
clubs.
morning,
No.
in the middle of the day, and
All
then
day,
again
every
at
day.
night. So it's like, yeah, all day, every day. So you kind of have to pick a car that, depending on what kind of audience you want to attract, right? So if you want to attract like business people, you're going to go and get like a Mercedes C-Class. If you want to attract like younger kids that, you know, just turned 21, maybe get a Mustang.
Ford Mustang.
I was gonna say i8 BMW.
Yeah, something like that. So if you wanna
spaceship.
attract someone that's more serious, I ended up choosing a Corvette because I wanted to attract that demographic that likes the Corvette, so which is like older generation. You don't really see many people, younger people driving
Or
Corvettes.
even entrepreneurs, business owners.
Yeah.
It's a
who
cool
want
looking
to
car.
do a little bit flashy, but nothing crazy like a Lambo,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
It's it's affordable. Like a lot of people think Corvettes are like extremely expensive. It's like the most lower end exotic car. I don't even think it's considered an exotic car, but it looks like one. So people are like, okay, like I can't afford that Lambo, but you know
That's-
what? I can rent this Corvette.
That Corvette or that Supra. The Supra is like also kind of a sporty. It gives us the old vibes, just like the Corvette, the old 1960s Corvettes. But we got the 90s JDM Supras. That Supra, the 2020, then they released it. So nice.
Yeah. So it's like, you pick who you want to attract first, and then based on that, you pick what car you want to end up getting if you want to do the investment the right way. Because a lot of people get cars that they personally want to drive, and then they become attached to the car, so they don't want to rent it as much, and it just messes up the business. Because I've met people that get a car that they personally want to drive. It's not necessarily what the market wants, and maybe it doesn't go out as much, or the return's not there, or they're just stuck with another car and another payment.
I think it just depends on the person, however they want to take, because Turo allows the flexibility to choose whatever business model you want. If you want to buy a car and it's 100% Turos and you're just renting it out, perfect. But a lot of people, it could help people who are just, work at home, or maybe it's like the dad works from 9 to 5, the mom stays at home, and the mom has a car, but she doesn't really need it every single day of the week, and they're just putting that car on tour for the days that they
For
don't
some
need it,
extra income.
and either covers the payment of the car plus some, maybe, which is, dude, I got one car and I'm about to put it on Turo. To be honest with you, I'm liking it, and I don't even care if I make profit on it. As long as it covers the payment, I'll be super happy with that.
Yeah, it's a free car.
The thing about that too is like you have different types of people that want to take this as a business, people that just want extra income, and people maybe like us that we travel often, so the car's just sitting there, and at the end of the month you have a payment, when instead of doing that, like have it go out a few times and then you don't have to worry about the payment.
Right.
So if you want to take it full time and maybe start your own fleet, you can start with 1 car, scale it to 2. I know people now that have like 50 cars, so it's doable, but you have to figure out if you want to do it like as a side thing or as a main business. As a side, it's perfect for people that,
Right.
you know, some people have like paid off cars. At that point, your business will be super profitable.
Right.
But if you want to treat it as like a brand new business, you have to do a lot of research. A lot of people think it's easy just because you see other people doing it, you're going to get the same results. But
No.
there's ups and downs with anything.
Correct.
And
I have a question. If I wanted to buy a Lamborghini, could I list it immediately?
so it has to get inspected first. You can take the pictures, focus on the pictures a lot because that's what sells.
Yep.
And you can upload it, but it has to pass an approval. So sometimes they'll have you meet with, take it to a shop, and they're certified by Turo, inspect that everything is good. I think there's times where you could upload it right away and it'll get posted.
Because the reason why I asked was because I was kind of like flirting with the app or the website, and it said, oh, you need like 100 rides before you post an exotic. I don't know if that's...
Not that I'm not really familiar with the back end. I was mainly doing the purchasing, like the credit side of it.
Oh, the fun thing.
Yeah.
The fun.
You were doing the driving?
Yeah. No, but yeah, I've seen people upload cars that, because I've delivered multiple cars from friends or clients that get cars in California and they want to start the business here. So we manage it for them. And I've seen them like do a quick photo shoot, upload the picture, and the same day it's already listed.
So
But
go ahead.
it's a little bit different depending, I guess, on the car, the year, or the make.
Gotcha. So I got a question for you because I know that you have 4 cars, like you said, under your name that you personally bought, and you're renting out how many?
I'm renting 2.
2 of them. Okay, so you two personal, 2 business.
Yeah.
And you are actually running this business here in Vegas, but you don't live here. So the person managing that is Mo.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, but I do know that Naeem plays part of that. Eli plays
Yeah.
part of that. How are they involved? And at the end, how many cars in total does your business actually manage?
To be honest, right now, I don't know the exact number of how many they have, but yeah, it all started because I think Naeem and Mo are already doing it with their personal cars.
Correct.
And we met up one day and I told him, hey, what if we, start marketing this and manage it for other people? And that's literally how it started. I learned how to get lines of credit so that loans so that you can qualify for the cars, go into the right banks so that you didn't have to put a down payment and just cover the full amount of the car.
Correct.
And eventually started taking off. We got a few clients, and right now it's been running smooth. Winter is a little bit slower, but like I said, it's a pretty smooth business. If you get the right car at the right price, the right loan, low APR, most cars are making double their monthly payment, sometimes even more.
Nice. How many, like if you were to just guesstimate right now, how many cars do you guys have in management right now?
I would say maybe like 20 to 30.
Around the 25
No.
30 range?
No, I was actually talking to Mo, and he said he had like 47.
47.
Damn. Holy shit.
It scaled pretty fast when we
Yeah, I
first
mean
started
that was all you guys. There was a very strong team, and there was weeks where you guys added fucking 10 cars at a time, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember when I
do.
first started coming here, like almost every other day I was here and I was flying back, driving here, flying back, driving here. Yeah.
Yep. Bringing all the Teslas, the Mustangs, the Corvettes. I was like,
Yeah.
my guy, dude, chillax. that was fun.
That's a rich flex.
Yeah.
So are you guys not opening to taking new clients or more cars?
Right now, we're actually looking for about 5 new clients. We're not really trying to take too much because you actually have to hire employees because, people want the cars delivered at the airport.
So that's actually one of the things that I wanted to bring up because for myself, I keep dabbing on the idea about starting it. However, one of the things is like, is it really worth my time to be able to do it? Because like you said, if I want to be able to give the best experience, yes, I would have to have the time to deliver it or hire someone to do it. And I just don't know if I want to do that or like go with the trouble. Like, is it really going to make me enough money for me to justify all this extra work that I'm doing since I'm already busy managing other businesses?
I think for someone that already has like a full-time job or a full-time business that they have to run, it might not be the best idea for you to run your own vehicle. You might want to hire someone to manage it for you. I mean, we all have like a younger cousin, right, that is maybe getting out of high school, and you can help them out. Be like, hey, I'll pay you a couple $100 a month, and you drop off and pick up whenever it's needed. Or there's also teams like us where we can completely automate it for you. You just drop off the car, we do all the work for you, and then at the end of the month, you just collect your percentage and call it a day.
Awesome. Actually, I was not even planning on making this a plug, but now that we're talking about it, how much actually do you guys take percentage, and how does that work? Let's say I want to do it because I'm probably interested, because Vegas market is way better than San Diego market. If I were to get another car, how would that work?
So it's a 70-30 split from everything it generates. So not pretty much 70-30 from the entire amount of money it makes a month, and that's the easiest way to describe it.
That's after Turos.
Yeah, you don't even get to see what Turo takes. At the end of your booking, they pay you out whatever your cut is. So it's not like they send it to an account and then you have to see what they're gonna take, because obviously they're not gonna want you to see that.
Another question, is that after we take out the monthly cost of the car?
No, so that's part of, like starting your business too. Like before, there's people that will still guarantee that, but honestly, it's not sustainable for the business to continue to run. So it's just
70-30
70-30
split. It is what it is.
Straight from the revenue.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, there's months where like your car's gonna make a couple $1,000s and your payments maybe like $300-400.
Okay.
But during winter, it might slow down a little bit. So just to make it simple, just 70-30.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Are we able, let's say, okay, cool. Hey, the months on December slows down. Am I able to just pull my car out and then I'll see you back in the spring?
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Dope.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's one thing I recommend that I'm doing myself, and I recommend everyone that partners up with us to every single dollar that it makes extra, reinvest it, pay off as much as you can from the car, and then wintertime refinance it, have a way lower payment, and the next summer is when you're going to see a lot of return, because having a super low payment and still being able to make money with the business, you're going to be able to pocket a lot more.
That was a big jump.
Yeah, I was not even
that's a
thinking
good one.
about that. Holy shit.
Yeah,
because
refinancing like 6 months down the road.
Yeah, because even with myself, this was my first car under my name for the first time, and even my interest rate was quite high considering the credit that I have. But it was because my very first car didn't have another installment loan going on in my credit, so I was like, shit, it's quite high, but I don't care about it because I generate enough money with my business to be able to fucking afford it. But I'm making like more. I'm paying a little bit extra to show like really good faith. That way, when I pull the second one, they're like, "Well, this motherfucker's paying like double the payment on the first one." Like, you know?
Yeah. I think if you treat it like long term, and not just for like a year, then yeah, you would want to like pretend you don't even have the car for the first year, and then literally if it makes $2,000, send it back to the car. Winter comes around, refinance it, hopefully under your business and not under your personal credit anymore. Your credit goes up. It has credibility because you paid off a car. And now it's hidden under your business. And if you want to buy a house or something, because markets fluctuate, and let's say you're ready to buy a house, your debt to income is not going to get affected. And on top of that, you're going to have an extremely low payment because everything you made on the first year was being sent back to it.
So you're recommending to refinance it, but put it into under the LLC.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then you can keep getting newer cars and newer cars.
Yeah. I say after the first year, like treat the business as a business for a year. See if you like it, because there's ups and downs. There's seasons, like you said.
Gotcha.
And people want to just see the nice side, the good side. But when the bad times come, they're like, okay, why did I get so many cars?
Gotcha. So let me tell you this play. How about this? Buy the car, keep it you guys manage it. We pay off as much as possible. If you guys want to keep a profit, that's awesome too. Then refinance it under the LLC, get a commercial auto loan, keep it there, and then after that a year, you've had the car for 2 years, and then you probably just sell it and buy it.
Yeah.
And
That would
buy
be
a
the best.
newer version.
So it's also like a savings account too, right? Because you're paying off the car, but it's not like your money's going away. You have equity on
You're
the car
building
after
equity up.
Yeah, after 2 years.
Especially in the car market, in today's car market,
Yeah.
do know that.
I just don't like locking in equity. That's one of my biggest things that I tell people not to do, because money doesn't do me good locked up. Money does me good if I spend it, right?
Yeah.
So that's my only issue with it. But I mean, like, if that works for you, that works for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's not necessarily what I'm doing either, but what I'm starting to do, just because it's not my only source of income, and it's not the only credit, if you consider the credit, the equity credit, because you're kind of putting it aside. It's just things that I'm like setting myself up so that when winter comes and it's a little slower, maybe the car's not going out as much, I'm not gonna have to come out of pocket to make the payments if it came to that, down to that. Because when you get a higher end car, your payments are gonna be a little bit high, right?
Yeah, and actually now, if you're talking about that, one of the cool things, it depends on the credit, on the financial institution where you got the auto loan from. It's either you're making extra payments towards it or you're pushing payments forward. Do you know the difference?
So you pretty much like are extending the loan.
Well, not really. So what you're doing is that, like, for example, I have Navy Federal. I got my auto loan with Navy Federal. I've been putting an extra like $200, $300 into the payment every single time. I just like round it up to the nearest fucking zero, and then just like said, every single month on this day, it's gonna send money to the payment for the car, right? And then I look at when I log into my Navy Federal, sometimes I see it, and I'm like, and I just click on it just to be curious, just make sure the automatic payment's still working, everything's going good, because you never know, right? And then the next thing I noticed was like, hey, your next payment is on like the 6th month of the year, and we're on the 4th month. I'm like, I'm up ahead. Like, I don't have to make a payment for the next 2 months because I've been putting that much money extra into the car that is like, it's telling you don't need to make another payment until. So technically, you already have multiple months ahead of time paid, and that looks really good for the bank too. So you're building that like bank relationship with them as well.
That
I
auto credit score.
Yeah. I didn't know that was even a thing. I thought it was all going to principal if you make the payment.
Well, yeah, it kind of goes to the principal. I'm pretty sure
Some
because
of it.
you're bringing.
You're still
it
going to pay the interest for the month. Anything extra goes towards the principal.
That's crazy.
Correct.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. So actually now, so you do the funding. You're doing the car stuff. If anything, if that's all, what is your demographic right now? Who do you feel like you want to help out the most?
So Turo is just like one of the businesses, right? But my main goal is to educate people on how to utilize their credit to get into any type of business.
Correct.
So by doing that, I'm also experimenting with starting businesses myself. So my target depends on who needs the business funding, right? Or the funding in general. So my target at that point would be the same person that I was a couple of years ago, someone that wants to get ahead but doesn't know how, wants to start a business or is not okay with their current living situation or their current financial situation, and in general just wants to get ahead and has no idea how to do it.
Correct. So I think that hits the point home right there when people might be looking at this like, how is it that you're doing funding and I do funding and we're friends and we send clients to each other? How the hell aren't you guys like rivals? And it's like, no, people, you guys got to understand this. Like, we have a different demographic. Your audience is like, I've never done a business before. I don't know where the fuck to start. I'm going to go with you and you're going to help me build personal credit. You're going to help me personal, because you do personal funding, right?
Both, yeah.
Both. I don't do personal funding, you guys. I like my target or main audience that I like working with. It's already entrepreneurs, especially like real estate investors. That's my demographic. That's like my bread and butter. Like, I want to go heavy on the business funding. I don't like doing personal funding.
Yeah, and not only that, I feel like it's also like mentality, like feeling like we're rivals is more of like a scarcity mentality.
Correct.
There's so like, if you think about, you limit yourself to how many people you know, but how many people need the service that you can provide is almost unlimited, right? Everyone wants to quit their job, do something that they actually want to focus on, and even if I were to see you as a rival, that would actually limit me and my reach. Just because I'm like, just because you know how to do what you do doesn't mean that you're gonna take my clients.
Correct.
So check this point out. They don't do massive conventions for people that do funding. But you brought up a really strong point. You said, aren't we rivals? There are a crap ton of real estate conventions that they do here.
Right.
Are they all rivals? Absolutely
No.
not. They're learning from each other. They're learning from each other. So there aren't, again, they don't do conventions for people that do funding. There aren't conventions for, there is actually a massive convention for people that do credit. I don't really think there's one person in this world that knows everything about credit. So I personally like to go to conventions like that because I meet like-minded individuals. We all learn how to make money together. We learn from each other, even if it's the most minor thing. Now that's a tool in my arsenal, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and you brought up the very strong point of no, like having a scarce mindset that's super weak.
It's also like the abundance mindset.
Yeah, I'm all about abundance. I'm all about abundance. Oh, that client decided to go with you. Good. I'm glad I was able.
Yeah, I mean, like if any client chooses between Elvis or I, is like you chose
Cool.
right.
Yeah.
whichever option you
can't
chose,
go wrong.
You can't go wrong.
Whoever you feel most comfortable with is the one that, at the end of the day, like it's your decision.
And there has to be a shift too in mentality once you start a business too, because that mentality of world rivals is more of an employee mentality, because
Right.
you're all fighting to like get recognized, right? You
Right.
want to satisfy your boss's needs, so you're like, oh no, I'm gonna do this instead of you because I want to be recognized.
And it's funny because one of the group chats that just one of the multiple group chats that we're in, every time, I'm not gonna say names either, but there's a specific person. Somebody posts or just comments, oh, I have this going on, I provide this service, or I'm selling MMP forms. Some stupid bitch would always comment right after, I got them for $200 cheaper.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those.
I got him for $500 cheaper. Boy, get the fuck out of here. Like, ain't nobody like, and I know why people hit me up personally. It's actually kind of funny. I always, hey, what do you think about this person? I take off. I don't hold back. I really don't hold back.
It's time for Eddie to start cooking.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
funny.
like, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. So, yeah, I don't. Yeah, like mad respect. Like that mad respect. It's cool to be able to hold eye contact with people that you do business with and people that you don't do business with, because that's massive. That's super massive.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now that you've been doing this for quite a few years, what's next for you? What businesses do you want to start? Any other or just personal things that you want to? I know you told me a few things over the phone last time we spoke.
Yeah.
If you want to share that, go ahead.
Yeah. So pretty much like, because I got started with my business 2 years ago. The first year was mainly do what I can and get into the businesses that I knew, which at the time were e-commerce and Turo. But this past year, I realized that there's so many other things that you can do that require very, very little money, and you can use the credit to start that, right? So right now,
more passively.
I mean,
business.
at the end of the day, like it's not necessarily like a passive business that's going to get you. That's going to get you ahead. I was telling you
which
about
business?
Where he's gonna get to it.
Oh,
well, so it's because I
building up
told him.
suspense.
I told him over the phone.
Farming for clout, or what'd you say last time?
Farming for content.
Farming for content right now. This guy's
No,
like,
but yeah,
I thought I missed it though. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm paying attention.
He was getting
that
to
was-
it.
that was
Right,
a separate
okay, so
Are you
conversation.
going to expose it right now?
All right,
Yeah.
no. So there's a business that he told us about before we started the podcast right now, and then a few days ago we were on the phone,
Yeah.
and you told me about something else. So you can talk about either or.
Yeah. Oh no, but that's what I was gonna get to. Just saying
here
that,
they go
like,
again.
I was just. All right, I'm gonna tell you guys. Pretty much, two businesses that I'm looking into right now is getting into real estate, and also car washes. They're very profitable businesses. A lot of people overlook them because they're old school businesses, right? They don't think it's like the newest thing.
It's not an automation service.
Yeah, it's not an automation, or it's not like get rich quick.
No,
or,
so the car wash is automated.
I know, but like
It's freaking machines.
it
yeah,
can
but
be.
but you know, everybody jumps on the next trend. Like,
Yeah,
But
it's because
the thing
people are
is-
used to like, I give you this, give me a lot of money back, and they don't research, they don't like do the back end work before they invest. And I mean, I was that way too in the beginning. I was just like, oh, you can make money by buying Dogecoin. I was buying Dogecoin, or you can make money
Oh,
by starting this like Forex account. I was starting the Forex
Right.
account. But then you learn like, hey, you got to be smarter with your investments.
Right.
You got to do the back end work. And I've been doing that for some time now. And because my credit finally hit the perfect age. My LLC's hit the perfect age. My credit is in good standing, and I've been preaching about leveraging your business credit. I'm going to focus this year on starting multiple businesses that I can leverage credit to start, and I'm starting with real estate. There's actually some states where you can buy property for anywhere between like 10 grand all the way to 50K.
Yep.
Obviously, they're messed up. They're not like
Of course.
the best houses.
That is where you make the money.
Yeah.
Those are gold mines, because what people don't understand, especially if you're listening to this, you're probably an entrepreneur, you probably already know this. But for everybody else, a lot of people are like, I want to buy my dream house. Fuck your dream house, bro.
Yeah,
like,
that's like
no,
the end result.
like
That's a liability. The dream
That's-
house is a liability.
it's a fucking nightmare house,
But-
bro. It was a dream given from the American to like the American dream. Like, no, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
We'll talk about like something that we have in mind that's completely different, but like after this, because I want you to I don't want to cut into like your topic. I want you to go ahead and finish.
Yeah, so pretty much like once you find the right house, right? Because it's not every cheap house is going to be the better house. Like you have to do the research, go and see the house, look at the foundation, look at how much money, make an estimate of how much money it costs to rebuild it. And at that point, it's up to you if you want to fix it and sell it, or fix it and, if it's paid off, if it's 10 grand, maybe you invest another 20 on top. Now you have a living home
Right.
where that costs you about 30 grand. The price of a Honda Civic, right?
Right.
And now you can decide whether to put it on Airbnb if it's in a good location, or just have people living there. Now, after let's say you charge maybe like 1 to 2 grand. Let's say 2 grand for someone to live there a month, which is pretty standard. In about a year, you come out of your investment, and after
Damn.
that, you have 2 grand coming in every month, forever, right? Until like, obviously, like the house falls apart or whatever.
You better hope inflation hits them hard.
Yeah, but I mean, it just depends on. There's so many ways to make money. Like, you can
That's pretty evil.
fix it up and sell it right away.
Right.
Maybe make a couple
A fix a
$1,000.
flip. I mean, I think the best strategy for a lot of people listening is the burst strategy, or like exactly what I told you. Because there's so many ways to invest into real estate. It just depends on what is best for the person that's doing it at the moment. Because what I would say is find those shitty looking houses where the systems of the house. Now, what do I mean by systems? The foundation, plumbing, electrical, all that. It's good.
Make sure it has Wi-Fi
The
included.
actual the actual systems is good, but it needs a new coat of paint. Maybe you need to redecorate redo the
Floors.
flooring, the new cabinets, or paint the cabinets.
Make sure the roof is good. Like
Right.
this is something that
Roof is a system of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, so the roof is a system. That would probably, like, at least for me, like my biggest suggestion would be, don't buy a house that needs a brand new roof, because the roof is
Expensive.
a roof on a $15,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 house. That's probably half the price.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna put the Elon Musk solar roof on it.
It is doable.
Yeah, it is 100%.
But yeah, so like if you guys find a house like that, I know it doesn't look great. However, get it, fix it first. It brings up the equity value of the property up. You then refinance. A lot of the times you're even able to pull cash out because the value went up so much that you're able to pocket some of that money. And so technically, after 6 months, you're living in a house that you made that paid you like 30 grand.
Yeah.
Correct.
So again, that strong point of you bought a house that doesn't look good. If somebody can see potential in a home, that's it.
That's value.
That's it right there.
And that was a traditional way, what you just described, where you get a mortgage. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't want to waste their FHA on a $10,000 house, right? So that's where I come in with
you
the
can get multiple
non-traditional.
FHA those.
I would.
Yeah, but it's like a process, right? It's not like overnight that you can.
No,
do
no.
that. If
So
you
yeah,
see an opportunity of like,
for you to qualify for an FHA, I believe so. If anybody listening want to correct me on this, but to my knowledge, you can get an FHA as long as you don't have an FHA open currently. So if you already had it in the past, but it's already closed, you're good.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to take advantage of the market now and you want to get into maybe like 3 or 4 homes the same year, like you could probably just use your FHA once, right? Unless you pay it
Correct.
off. At
Use
which
the
point,
FHA once and then just do conventional for the rest.
I would. I would buy a $10,000 house on a credit card just to hit
That's
the sign up
exactly what I was
bonus.
going to say. Like
To hit the sign up bonus?
That's the non-traditional. Hey, you get to rebuild, generate income, and a free vacation.
I mean,
There you guys
I
go.
mean, come on.
Yeah, no, but
Travel
that's what
hacks. Buy a house.
Big facts.
No, but that's what I was gonna get into, like doing it the non-traditional way, where you liquidate a credit card. There's ways to liquidate credit. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys know.
How do
all of them.
you liquidate credit?
I mean, there's like legal
No.
ways to
That's
do
a
it.
That's the forbidden topic.
That's,
That
we were
is the
testing
forbidden
you, bro.
topic.
Yeah,
We
we're
don't talk
testing
about
you.
that.
This guy,
It's a forbidden topic.
this guy can't leave the
Oh, it's not on
building
the- all right.
alive.
Subscribe to my OnlyFans. I'm actually gonna tell you guys now. Just kidding.
That's his other business. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, but I mean, there's multiple ways to do it. You can get creative. There's ways to like do it in a legal way. I guess not that it's illegal, but it's just like
In the non-moral way.
yeah. So there's ways to do that where you can. It's completely normal
You
to
said
do
enough.
it. I mean,
Said enough, bro.
You said enough.
yeah, but once you liquidate your credit, you can go and buy it cash, and then once you buy it cash, you can go to the bank and ask for money so that you can get another one or pay off your old loan, your credit card, and so the opportunities are endless once you know how to do it. Once you know what we know, pretty much like how to liquidate, how to hide debt, how to use business credit instead of personal credit. There's so many different things you can do, but that's just one of the things that I was gonna.
Yeah. So you're trying to get into businesses that have been tested throughout time.
Yeah.
The car wash, probably laundromat services.
So
Yeah.
that's what I
real
want. I actually want a
estate.
laundromat, like no cap. But I think enough about real estate. What all do you know about the car wash? Because I know a little bit.
Yeah,
I looked into
so-
it after watching Breaking Bad, and I was like,
Well,
now,
so
now I see why.
there's a lot of
There you
money in boring businesses, right? That's what we.
Well, you
been
wouldn't be
learning.
there.
Yeah.
You 100% wouldn't be there. You're just the owner.
It depends on if you buy like one of those new car washes where like they hand you everything and there's employees, which is not really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to automate it as much as I can. Obviously, there has to be some work done, but just to break it down, there's like existing car washes. You don't even have to build it from the ground up. You can go and find like the one in the corner and talk to the owner. Most people that own a business like that's like a boring business, like a laundromat or car wash or a store, sometimes people want to sell the business, but you're not aware of it because there's not a website where you can just go and sell my business, right?
Right.
So
That sounds like a business opportunity right there.
that's something I've been thinking about, but I don't think
There
there's
is
high
actually
demand.
a few websites that do that already.
Oh,
but they're
Craigslist
not
for
they're not
businesses.
mainstream either. So it's not like they're advertising about it either.
Well, the thing
so.
is that like the demand wouldn't be like your traditional person; it would be business owners, which is a lot smaller crowd. So it's not like a Grubhub, right? Everyone can order.
it's not going to be the next hottest thing on Instagram.
Exactly.
It's not going to be. Yeah,
So
I get it.
if you want to find these locations that the owner wants to sell it because either they're late in taxes or that someone in their family passed
Yeah.
or
They're old. They're getting old. They don't want to be managing. They want to travel the world before they fucking die.
They're about to
Yeah.
retire and their grandkids aren't getting shit.
exactly. Or a lot of people don't know about taxes in general. Like when you start a business, you didn't get taught like, oh,
Yeah.
this is how you do taxes.
Yeah,
And if
luckily.
you're making like $250,000 or more, you don't know that you're about to pay $200,000 in taxes. So they're like, okay, this business keeps making money. I'm going into debt because they created a lifestyle that requires them to spend the amount of money they got the first year because they have nice cars. They bought the house. They bought like a bunch of things. So everything that comes in is going out. So long story short, you can go and pretty much door knocking or going into these car washes and getting the phone number, calling and asking, hey, like I saw your car wash and I was interested in purchasing it. Would you be willing to sell it? And it's not going to be the first person that you run into that's going to want to sell it. But when you do land that person that wants to sell it, instead of getting a loan from the bank where you're going to, let's say they want to sell it to you for $100,000. Instead of
That's
getting
cake.
a loan, yeah, it's not that much once you know how to build your credit and everything. But instead of adding all that debt to your credit, you can do something that's also non-traditional where you can do a seller finance. They do this a lot in real estate where you can tell them, hey, you know what, instead of me paying you a lump sum of $100K, which $20K is out the door because you have to pay it in taxes, let's come to this agreement where I'll give you 10% of the value of the car wash. I'll give you $10K up front, and then you put me on a 6-year contract where I give you $2,000 a month for the next 6 years or whatever the amount would be. And you know that the car wash is going to be making more than that. So
Yeah.
you can get into that business without having to get a loan, impacting your credit, and also it's already profitable. You don't have to build it from the ground up.
Dude, you're just dropping fucking gems. I don't think people. No. I don't think people realize it.
Yeah, and the benefit is that you are only having to put your initial startup cost is so much lower.
Yeah.
You don't. It's already you bought a business that's already generating revenue, and for the seller, it's better because he won't have to pay in taxes that much money up front.
He's guaranteed the money.
And he's guaranteed the money. And also, he's going to get more on the long run because that's the benefit of the seller finance. Like, okay, you're selling me this car wash for $100,000. However, how about in total, I give you $130,000, but we'll spread it over 6 or 10 years.
Yeah. So you pay the interest to them, but at the end of the day, it's not going to impact your credit. And
no, you're not paying anything because the car wash is generating a lot more.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I mean, yes, your initial cost is like the $10,000 you were talking about.
Even when you, because I believe you have to what's the word? You have to notify your clients or your customers. I think you have to put up like a sign or a banner stating it's going under brand new management. Even charging $1 or even 50 cents more per car wash to scale. I mean, I'm so passionate about this to scale. 50 cents is a lot of money to scale. If you're running, what was I telling you, like 40 cars per hour at 50 cents, that's $20 more per hour. And if the car wash 7 days a week,
8 hour days,
8 hour, no.
Or more,
from
or actually
8
more,
in the morning to like 8 p.m. Like, bro.
There's
like,
2 car washes. The one that just has like the little bay, and then it's open 24/7.
Yeah,
There's
I was
no
going to say that.
employees. You do all the work.
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't want to do that. I would like at least for me, it's just literally do everything like automated.
The ones that have machines.
Yeah, of course.
Uh-huh.
And that cuts employees.
Well, the machine still it might still require employees because
of course you
maintenance, all of that stuff.
Yeah. So for the example that I was telling you, it was just like this simple one where it's like you put like $3 and you do it yourself. Gives you 5 minutes.
Okay, so the hose with water.
Yeah, and then soap and brushes and all that, which requires very low maintenance, or you don't even have to have someone working there. You just have like maybe security and people that pick up the trash.
And the coins.
And it can be, it could do coins, or now that we know credit, you can put
there
a
we
little,
go.
like a credit card machine, right? And it's super scalable, like you said. Like if you think about it, if it's someone that's older that wants to get rid of it, they just have the car wash, right? That's their business, just the car wash. But us knowing technology, knowing all these other things that people want and need, you could put ATMs, you could put vending machines with like the little scented
car fresheners.
Yeah, with towels with oil, so that everything.
Waxes.
On top of that, you can put a vending machine for
Tire
sodas,
shines.
water, because you get tired. If you're in the sun, you might want to drink water.
Apples, do you think apples would do well?
Maybe.
I'm just kidding.
But that's the thing, like you can scale it so
right?
much.
Apple iPhones.
You can scale it so much where like now you turn whatever revenue it was bringing a month into maybe double that.
Yeah.
Depending on how much and if you market it online.
Bro, not just that. Right now that you just said marketing, something just came in. I was like, you can actually charge people to put like banners or you know what I mean, like put like some form of like advertisement.
Oh yeah, they have some car washes, where you can advertise yourself.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Plug yourself, right?
Plug yourself.
You get to plug yourself.
Yeah.
Yo, I was wondering, you know those car washes where there is a full staff? There is the vacuums. You can use the vacuum afterwards.
That's another thing.
That's like the highest scale one, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are those franchised?
Some of them are. I have a membership that is like $26.99, and it hurts every time I run my trucks because they're brand new.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to see is like swirls or circles on my.
Yeah, but fuck it, like the time that you spend to wash it manually versus, like is it,
Well,
yeah,
one thing I noticed with that is that like if you want to be like recession proof or against everything, right? Like everyone's always gonna have $3.
Everybody's
and if you think about like paying for a $25 car wash, like if the recession is hitting or like times are not good, you might skip on that, right? You're not gonna go in, like you would prioritize getting food or doing something that's a necessity.
Correct.
But $3, bro, you go into your piggy bank and like literally get like a bunch of quarters, you go and get a car wash.
Stop donating your excess change to Panda Express and get a car wash instead.
There you go.
Save your change, guys.
Yeah, pretty much. But there's like, just like this one, there's so many other businesses that are boring because they're not the traditional ones. They're not like get rich quick. They're not like you're gonna get Mercedes-Benz in the back, like taking a picture in front of it for the internet. It's just like old school business, but one, it's recession proof. Two, requires very little work or maintenance, and it's just maybe investing another 10K on top of what it costs to get into the business, which the initial 10K can be negotiated as well. You can go into it with no money down.
Right.
And maybe you invest another 10K from a credit card to make it look better, paint it, get better equipment. So now people
Put a
are
sign
like,
at the front.
that looks better. I want to go there.
Put a
Absolutely.
luminescent light. Yeah. So just something that we were talking about is buying a like $1 million mansion, like 1.2, 1.3, and the mortgage being like $10,000, and just having like 4, 5, 6 people moving in, and just like, I mean, the mortgage payment would only be like $1,800 a month for each, but we would just imagine we would be like dumb what is it?
Marketing?
No, we would be like
Collaborating.
Content house?
No, it not a content house. Just we would be dumb productive, like just dumb,
big time, yeah.
stupid productive. You know, it's just like, oh, what are you working on right now? Oh, I'm working on this. I was like, let's knock it out right now. Like that's
Dude. Yeah, I've
that's
been wanting
actually
to do
in
that.
that's actually in the works. It's actually in the works, but can't speak too much on that topic.
Yeah, it seems like a good idea. Obviously, if you trust the people that you're going to live with.
Yeah, and the thing about that is like the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you stated seller finance.
Oh, yeah.
So that to me is like, ugh, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Imagine, and I actually saw, I don't know how true or accurate this might be, but there was some guy that purchased a $1 million home via seller finance, and it's just like, if it takes balls for somebody to approach somebody as such, you guys know me. I'm the guy.
Yeah.
I basically run it. So, I mean, it'd be dope, especially in Las Vegas. I mean, come on, shoot
Right.
it down.
Absolutely. But yeah, man, I think that was pretty much it that we wanted to cover. I want to thank you so much for coming to our podcast.
We hit all the topics and everything.
Yeah, we did.
Awesome.
No
That's
way.
excellent.
We wanted to bring something else. But well, the last thing is that I wanted to bring up is that he needs to plug himself in. He needs to tell the audience where he can be found, what is he working on currently, and how to get in contact with you, man.
Yeah, so my Instagram is at Elvis Somoza. I don't know if you guys can add it to the bottom, but
Of course.
because Somoza
Yeah,
is a
we'll-
little bit hard to spell.
We'll link it below.
Yeah, but yeah, find me on Instagram. I mainly I'm active on there. I don't really use Facebook or any other social media platform. But if anyone wants to, start a business and they don't have the funds for it, or they need credit repair, you guys can reach me. Or if you just want to learn more ideas of as to what you can do with credit, whether it's traveling for free or generating sources of income, go ahead and give me a follow. And thank you guys for having me.
Just a second. Before we finish, is there like a specific word? Is there something specifically that your audience needs to do to DM you to like get like your attention? Like, oh, like DM me funding, DM me.
Usually if it's for funding, yeah, DM me funding. If you're just curious to see what you can do with credit, or you want me to take a look at your credit, just DM me points only.
There you go.
Let's
Points
go.
only.
Points only.
Elvis is our first sponsor.
There we go,
All right,
you guys.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining.
Yes, sir.
Another great host. So another
guest.
great guest.
Yeah,
Great guest,
you're busting an Eddie right now, bro.
Yeah. Well, perfect,
Thank you
perfect.
guys
Awesome.
for having me.
Of
Most
course,
definitely.
man. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Again, remember, every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Day, we're dropping these podcast episodes for you guys. So again, we're signing out. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Later, guys.
From what I know you were talking too fast. You were talking like not yourself. You were talking about
Right now?
Yeah, you were talking like an ad.
Yeah, it's because I'm like tired as fuck, so I thought I was recording with Jeremy for a second.
Who here fucking looks like him?
This guy.
I mean,
Hey, it's the fucking camera
there's
lens.
a man behind 2 cameras, right? I was like, I don't know. All right.
All right, here we go. You ready?
This is going in the bloopers.
All right.